Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of r/MaliciousCompliance. Before we jump into the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to stay up to date on all our latest content. My name's Ryan, the official host here at Reddit Voice, and I look forward to bringing you guys today's stories. Tell me to hide period products in order to not offend male coworkers? Consider it done. Background: I work in a fast-paced healthcare environment where every minute counts, and I have both male and female coworkers on my shift. We have lockers with opaque doors where we're allowed to store our things. When I'm in the office area, I leave mine unlocked for easy access, and I've started keeping a box of tampons in my locker. I've told my female coworkers if they're in a hurry and need a tampon, they're welcome to just open my locker when it's unlocked and I'm in the office, and take one no problem. I got called into my boss's office the other day because a male coworker of mine complained that me keeping tampons in my locker was disgusting, and he hated that he could see the box whenever my locker was opened. My boss, a male, told me that some men were really sensitive to this type of thing, and that I should try hiding them in a different type of box so I wouldn't offend my coworkers. I asked what the point was because my coworkers could see someone reaching into a crackers/Pop-Tart, etc. box and be taking out a tampon instead of food anyway. My boss got all huffy and told me that it was for the best and that I needed to do it. Well, fine. I made a cover for my tampon box that said Mother's Earth Bloody Nutrients Bars with extra gooey, nutritious filling, with a photo of a bloody bathtub, and placed it on the box. That was 2 days ago, and I saw the male coworker open my locker trying to be sneaky, and he was paled when he read the box, got all angry, and I received an email from my boss that my cover wasn't funny and that I needed to take it down. So I emailed our HR person a copy of the email as well as a summary of what happened and photos of the lockers, the box, and the cover. I also suggested that the male coworker sit somewhere where he didn't have a direct line of sight to my locker if it really offended him so much. She thought it was freaking hilarious and said I followed my supervisor's instructions, so I was fine. Nothing else has been done yet, and I'm mostly angry that my time was spent on something as stupid as this and not on patient work. Edit. Thank you so much for the support and the awards. I've documented everything and encouraging my coworkers, male and female, to do the same. HR is now in the loop, and they've told me they had multiple people come forward saying similar things and that they're doing some investigating, so hopefully things change. My time is valuable. I was a bartender in a fancy restaurant in a snotty town. The restaurant was run by a snotty, affected, rude manager. The time clock was right inside the door used by the employees, and the coat room was in a small room across the restaurant from the employee entrance. It took maybe 20 seconds to get there and hang up your coat. Everyone would walk in, clock in, and then put our coats away. I had just clocked in and was walking to the coat room, removing my coat as I went, and rude manager grabbed me and in a very loud and rude tone said, "Stop. Go back and clock out. Put your coat away, then clock in." Okay, sure, dude. The thing is, I used to stop on the way in and buy the newspaper for the bar. No big deal. Of course, it was off the clock, but not anymore. From then on, I would drive straight to work without stopping for the papers. I would get in, put my coat away, walk back across the restaurant and clock in, then go back to the coat room and put my coat back on, leave, buy the newspaper for the bar, then go back and put my coat away, all on the clock. In order to save the restaurant 20 seconds per day on the time clock, rude manager ended up costing them more than an hour per week extra. I got more money, he got no more polite, and the restaurant went out of business a few months later. You'll only be served by the attractive barmaid? Okay, no problem. My friend told me this story, and it was just too good not to share. So the town we live in has lots of good old-fashioned British pubs, and one that is a pub during the week and then turns into, sort of, a club at the weekends. Since it's the only place past 12 a.m. open, it tends to attract a lot of drunk dickheads. My friend was working one night with 2 other bar staff, one other guy and a girl who I've been told was pretty attractive. It was about 11:55 p.m. and a guy walks up to the bar. My friend wasn't serving anyone at the time and goes to take his order. No thanks, mate. I'll wait for her. My friend tried to explain that she was serving customers at the other end of the bar and that he would be the one to take his order. No, I am only getting served by her, no one else. Sure, mate, no problem. My friend then waits for his colleague to finish serving her existing customer. By the time she's done, it's around 11:57 p.m., so my friend turns to her and says, "Hey, you've only got 3 minutes left of your shift, so you might as well leave now. We've got it covered." So she leaves. My friend and the other guy working both refuse to serve him for the rest of the night, as per his request. Shut down while trying to report a fire at my high school. When I was a senior back in high school in Middle Tennessee, we had a smoking area for the students. This was 1990, so yeah, I'm old. My daughters actually just asked me to post this story here. Anyway, so I was a good student and had a great reputation among the faculty at this school of about 2,000 students. During class, I'm running an errand for a teacher when I walk by the smoking area. It's outside, of course, but it is against one of the buildings and has a roof over it like a carport. There's a large metal trash can in the middle, and it's on fire. Not a rip-roaring fire, but it is on fire nonetheless. We have flames starting to work their way out of there, and plenty of smoke. I decide I don't need to pull a fire alarm, but clearly I need to get a staff member to put this fire out. There's no one around, so I make a fast trot up to the main office. As I quickly enter, I see the secretary talking to another student, so with a loud voice I say, Miss Knight, there's a..." And that's when the assistant principal rounds the corner behind Miss Knight while ripping into me about how we wait our turn in here and how I am being disrespectful and loud and I need to stand there and wait until I'm called forward. Okay. And then I just stood there while Miss Knight kept helping the other student as Mr. Evil Assistant Principal stood overwatch in the corner like a bouncer. Finally, after a few minutes, it was my turn. I calmly walked up to the counter and said, "Miss Knight, the large trash can in the smoking area is on fire." The assistant principal yells out, "What?" and then bursts out of the room while Miss Knight just gasped. I calmly turned around and walked out, then went back to class. Here is your 0.00% idle time. I worked for a company that provides a utility truck, and one of the analytics they monitor is how long the truck stays in place with the motor on. The target number was something like 3%. I consistently was stuck in traffic due to my area being changed to the downtown area of my city, and naturally, raising my idle percent. My supervisor began constantly badgering me over the raise of my idle percent, about 10 to 12% higher now, after they decided to give me a written verbal warning. I became the most efficient truck, no idler in our branch, and I brought it down to a 0.00 by shutting the truck off at every stop sign, red light, highway stopped in traffic, in drive-thrus, and instantly off when I got to where I was going. Now remember, this is a utility truck that's charging my 2 phones, laptop, tablet, and my various equipment's rechargeable batteries. All this juice sucking and no alternator spinning, putting the power back into the truck battery, causing it to die a lot. Now the rules, the company had made it forbidden for me to jump the truck myself, so I had to call the company and they sent out a tow truck to jumpstart it for me. I could do it myself anyway and probably would have, but they're writing people up out here for petty shit. And every time I call this tow truck, it takes a minimum of 2 hours for it to show up. I began doing this multiple times a day, every day until they figured my truck was broken. It goes to the shop, checks out, they give it back, I kill it again. They end up giving me an entirely new truck. I start killing it. I repeated this process until they gave me a 3rd truck, and the manager calls me to ask why my daily routine is. I go through the basics and add in the whole stop at the red light, engine off, stop in traffic, engine off, etc. And dude goes, "Why the fuck are you doing this?" My supervisor wrote me up for my idle time being too high. This is completely ridiculous. He tossed my write-up and I'm guessing talked to the soup because I never heard a word about idle time again and I quit caring about it. There's my dumb petty story. Thanks for reading. Edit. Made work past tense. I don't work for this shithole anymore. Inspect me not. First time poster, I hope this counts. This is not my story, but my father's, who died in 2016. He had a few stories he repeatedly told me, and this is one of them. My dad was a lifer in the military. He spent 4 years with the USMC, and then 16 years in the Army, where he climbed the ranks. Eventually, my dad found himself as a staff sergeant in the Army and was told by his CO that he had to start doing platoon inspections. Now, my dad was not a fan of inspection. As a lower rank, he and his platoon were inspected by a CO who was disheveled, unkempt, unshaved, and looked as if he had just rolled out of bed. My father's superior dismissed his platoon, refusing to let someone in such awful conditions themselves to inspect his men. Anyway, my dad, being the hard ass that he is, didn't want that responsibility of doing inspection, but accepted it when he was told by his CO that he had to. So the morning came for my dad's first platoon inspection as a staff sergeant, and my dad walked up and down the whole platoon, standing at attention, glaring at each one of them, then took one good look around and announced, "Y'all look like shit. Dismissed." He was never asked to do inspection ever again. My boss wanted me to dress for him. This was years ago, but it still makes me giggle. When I was 19, I got my first real office job. We weren't customer facing, so everyone dressed really casually. Jeans, tennis shoes, t-shirts. One day, my boss called me in to talk to me about dress code. He said that he'd like his assistant to wear business attire like they do at the corporate office. I asked what that is, and he said, like little dresses with jackets. I felt icky, but I didn't fully understand why for years. That night, my boyfriend, now my husband, took me to the store and I bought 5 outfits that exactly matched my boss's attire. Old man jeans, cotton button-up shirts, and loafers. That's what I wore until I left the company. He couldn't say a damn thing, and he never talked to me about dress code again. I now realize that it ruined his little fantasy, and it makes me proud of my young self. Edit. Well, this has been quite a day for my first post ever. I'm so glad my son talked me into Reddit because I've had the liveliest conversations with so many people today. For an extrovert, this is a dream come true. I love all of you. I've seen some really beautiful thoughts here, and it's really made me feel better about sharing the world today. Take care of each other, share your strengths, and be as weird as you really are. And if I write a book, it will be called Malicious Compliance by F.U. Patience. Should you ever see it on a bookshelf, know it's dedicated to you. Speak language. This is country. My friend, who is Vietnamese, gets told, "Speak English, you're in America," all the damn time. It got quite annoying to him, so he eventually decided to do something about it. He looked up the Native American tribe, whose tribe was originally on the land where he lives, went to the tribe's cultural center, told the elderly grandma working there that he was tired of being told to speak English in America, and had her teach him how to say white person / outsider / non-native in the language, as well as some other curse words and whatnot. Apparently, this made that Native American granny's weak because she went all out and really taught him quite a lot. And ever since, anytime some racist tells him to speak English in America, he says, "Well, why don't you speak Native American tribes language? We're in Native American tribes land." Ya damn. Native American word for white person. The shocked Pikachu face.jpg face he gets in response never gets cold. They completely freeze up for a few seconds before responding in entertaining ways such as gasping for air, or pointing their finger angrily, or just turning and walking away. Eventually, the word spread among my group of friends, and quite a few of them, who as immigrants, or even just people who speak a second language, occasionally also get told this, are always chomping at the bit to get their chance to use this response. Every time some of them finally do it, they immediately announce it to everyone they know, and it really never gets old. Anyway, I didn't really know where to post it, but felt it matched here well enough, hopefully, as it takes the racist logic and returns it right back to them in a way that really rustles their jimmies. What ways have any of y'all flipped the script on racists? And with that, folks, we've reached the end of today's r/malicious compliance. If you liked it, be sure to check out some of our other stuff and maybe even subscribe. As always, my name is Ryan, the official host here at Reddit Voice, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.